today's shave with a soap that I have used before. And I may actually have this. This is Storybook Soapworks version of Foret de Liguest. Is the kind of Americanized pronunciation. My high school French makes me think it might be pronounced Foret de Liguest, but I'm just guessing there, folks. And the scent is from Chatillon Luxe, and again, guessing at the pronunciation. But I think maybe L&L Grooming, or there was somebody else that they did this same scent with, another soap base that they put it in. And I've used that one. I just can't remember which one it is. So today is Storybook, Good Performer, and mostly a new puck. I did scoop once out of it before today, and then also for today. And so this is a pretty new use. And Undergrowth is the scent that it's supposed to be. Rich, deep, maybe a little bit of cypress, that sort of thing. And I think this is one where I kind of have to get my mind into it. If I am coming into it totally blind and I don't know anything about it, I think that makes me not really appreciate it for what it is. The other gear. The razor is a Rocket from the UK, a Gillette Rocket HD, and obviously it's in the gold and it's in great shape. I don't even remember where I got this guy. I think maybe he must have been part of a bulk purchase, or I don't know. But he's in wonderful shape. The operation of the doors is super smooth. And what we have in him today is a Gillette Platinum, and I believe he's got 6 uses in him. So this would be number 7. So let's try him out. The soap has been a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon has been pressed into the bottom of my Quintero lather bowl, a 3D printable object if you have that equipment, and a link to those files is in the description. So that is ready to go. The brush is the belle of the ball today. However, the test lather, the cleaning lather that I did just now with a bar of soap, led me to feel that this guy may be the floppiest brush that I have, and that may end up to be a disappointment. We'll just see. This is just a basic made in China handle, Taiwan maybe, and it had an old bore in it that had long since dropped 90% of its bristles, and so I cut them out, used a Dremel tool to dig out the hole so that a new knot could be put in. Put it in with some silicone, ordered a Virginia Cheng 20mm Silvertip knot, because I have a Virginia Cheng knot that I really enjoy. It is a larger knot, 26mm. I put it into a big maggored handle, but since then I've realized number one, I don't really enjoy the ergonomics of that handle anymore. And number two, I don't really need a 26mm knot. I don't need anything with big splay because I've got this goatee right here. So I've got this U-shaped tract of land. If I have something huge, then I don't really have any maneuvering room when I'm doing my duties. And so I thought, what I'll do is I'll buy the smaller Virginia Cheng knot, and I'll put it in a cool handle like this, and then I won't need to keep around the larger Virginia Cheng knot. But the larger one seems to have a lot more backbone than this one, and so it's going to stay put until I find a good replacement. Now I could maybe put an O-ring around the base of the knot here, but we'll just have to see. Okay, he's been soaking just to make sure he's wet, and we cleaned him really well to get the weird dust and stuff, manufacturing process and traveling dust and all that. Got to get that off. And so this is his first use. And so I have wet my face with some water prior to this, and my water is hard. So we will just jump right into, oh nope, we don't have to lather from the puck. We can go back to it if we need to. And so I'm just going to, as usual, shake out most of the water from the brush. I will start up here. Yeah, it feels pretty soft. So this will be interesting. Number one, I think I'm really going to like the barber style handle. I'm a bowl lather, as you can see, and I like to keep my fingers out from the suds. And so this may help me to do that. I've got big hands too, and so this kind of handle may more easily and more comfortably fit my hands. Well, we got a nice lather starting to build. It's wet, a little bit airy, but that is all right. We're in the beginning stages. And until it thickens up, I'm not going to keep adding water because I don't know where it is until it starts to kind of stabilize. Starts to solidify just a little bit. Meaning get a little bit, yeah, see, there we go. Already, it's not quite that big bubbly mess. See, just a little bit of effort and stirring. I mean, who knows, this knot may hold so much water that I don't need to add any more. Matter of fact, you know, if you watched many of my videos, you see me slowly adding water via a syringe in many cases. Well, I don't. I mean, you can do that if you find that's helpful. Oh yeah, see, this is thickening up really nicely. You can do that if you find it helpful. But I think most people, it's going to be a little bit more, I don't know, intuitive, less time consuming if you take that brush out of the water and figure out how many shakes it takes, how much water you need to remove from your brush, assuming you use the same brush each time. How many shakes to know how much water is in your brush so that you can take that into your soap, and that already gets you fairly close to the right soap and water ratio. And I think that's one of the best ways to go. It's just that because I kind of communicate and I change up a lot, and I want people, especially new folks, to be able to watch my video and have some idea about how much water I'm using. That's why I don't use that method, because I then wouldn't be able to tell you. I wouldn't be able to say it was this much water, because I would just say, well, I did 3 shakes from my brush, but if my brush isn't the same size as the person's brush, then it's not going to be helpful. This looks like it's going to be a lot of lather. Sure, it started out thin and soupy, and I think a lot of people who get a bad lather on their face have not, just keep on stirring. You don't even to add more water, maybe. You may not need to add more soap. Just keep on stirring until it settles down, until it stabilizes and starts not changing anymore. And if you don't stir long enough, you don't integrate it very well, that's a kind of lather that can dry up on your face, get really thin. Well, I think so far I'm really enjoying this handle. Man, I am going to end up, I scooped previously and I scooped today, partly thinking I want to keep this tub clean so that it will be easy to sell. A person might not have a hang up if it's scooped as opposed to brush lathered, and because the scent, I just didn't really know if it was going to be one that I would really enjoy. But to me, I'm finding it very interesting. I'm growing in an appreciation for this type of scent because it's not common. It's not a cologne scent or fruit or, you know, a citrus leather, smoke, you know, that sort of stuff. It's just not that. It's a smaller niche. I think I find it interesting and a nice departure from maybe some of the other ones. Storybook has a nice base. I really like their hook scent. Performs well, of course. Shaken is one that I've tried from theirs, and I enjoy that one too. Someday maybe I'll get a full tub of that, but I think I just use the sample. I mean, this thing is so thick. I can feel the viscosity with the brush, so that's why I keep adding water. There's just a whole lot here, and this is a new knot, so we can definitely expect some bristles to come out. I do not mind to see bristles come out, even up to like 30 uses, because sometimes that's just how long it takes, and there's nothing wrong with the brush. That's just how long it takes to work some of those out, because otherwise you'd have to pay extra for some laborer to comb through the brushes to try to get those guys out. I'd rather do it myself. So this is taking a lot of water. I've already filled up the syringe. I'm pretty sure I'm on 3 teaspoons now, and I don't even know if I'm going to be stopping. I may be adding 4, because I did put more soap in because I couldn't remember how much it took. 3.5 now. Yeah, I'm liking that scent. Let's look at the viscosity here. Pull it all down to the bottom of the bowl. Kind of start, yeah, see? Many soaps, that's a very good sign. The floppiness, the elasticity, that tall peak right there. Now some soaps, what I want is that tall peak to collapse pretty quickly. I can't remember if this is one of them or not. So let's add just a little bit more to make it an even 4 teaspoons of water. It feels like the soap can take it. Getting some nice smells coming up. Very enjoyable. There are some spicy bits to it, but it does seem very, you know, natural and dank, undergrowthy. I can't remember if I've ever smelled cypress or not, so I'm unable to identify if the scent has much true cypress scent smell to it. Let's just see if this will work. All right, I've also got my little brush rest. Hey, it works for this size brush too. Very cool. Great design from Roger. Get my face wet one more time. I don't seem to really need a pre-shave routine of oils or any kind of pre-shave cleaner. You may, and that's okay. I think a lot of people don't really need it, but they'd like to use it, and that's all right. I mean, it's another way to smell good, enjoy a scent, you know. All right. Wow, this is super soft. I mean, luxuriously soft, like I'm rubbing some kind of bunny tail on my face. Now, right now, it doesn't really feel too floppy. It may actually be flopping around, but here's the point. The brush is doing what I want it to do. It is, you know, spreading soap around my face. Now, if you want scrub, then this is the wrong brush for you. This is not the knot that you're going to like. So obviously this long handle I can hold like this. I can maybe, some of them you can reach forward and grab that front bevel. You know, some other knots, let me grab that. Maybe not the bevel, but just a little farther up. And yeah, that has a different feel to it. I like that too. Well, I thought it was going to be too floppy, but it is working. It's very comfortable. But yeah, if you want some, and yeah, I'm actually seeing just a little bit of cratering and pitting right there. And so I could probably get away with a little bit more water in this soap. But we'll leave it as is for now and just see if it works. Oh, nice strong scent. 5 or 6 out of 10 for strength. And it's that nice kind of undergrowth scent. Really sophisticated, mature type scent. And I like the oud family as well. And this may have some relevance, some relation to that. All right, let's see what this rocket does. My other rocket has a thicker handle than this one. And it's a UK rocket as well. Rocket HD, and it shapes great. So let's just see what happens. Ooh, just moving through the hairs. I don't even feel the blade edge. I mean, I barely even feel the hairs being cut. That is wonderful. I can kind of hear it a little bit, but I sure don't feel it. Very impressive. And you know what? The geometry just must be really agreeing with my face. And what I mean is the geometry of the razor head, the angle at which it's bowing the blade, the exposure of the blade, you know, how much of the blade is sticking out past the top and bottom guards. The you know, the positioning of those guards also really affects things. What a wonderful first pass. This is just terrific. Now, one thing about the Platinum, the blade here, the Gillette Platinum, is that I believe there's a couple of razors where it just has not worked very well. But I know that there are other razors where it shines and just does a great job for me. Left a little bit of water on my face from the rinse. And as you can tell, this is a lot thinner. So let's, hair number 2, let's get a little bit more soap. Super soft brush, really enjoying this. Thought it was going to be too floppy, and while I'm going to label it as floppy, it's not too floppy to do the job. It goes in display like that, as you can see, and it's comfortable while it's in display. And then I switch to the painting motion, and it handles that just fine. And one of the things I like about the bulb-shaped brushes is that it's a little bit easier to leave a thin layer down right before you're going to shave. With the fan shape, I think they have more of a corner that plows more and doesn't leave as thick. It's possible to leave a thinner lather because of that. Feels great. The lather feels real good. Looks like I dialed it in pretty much where I like it. So I'm really happy about that too. For you beginners, about the angle of the razor, let's talk about that. This particular one seems to be working very naturally with the way I hold a razor, and maybe seems to share the handle angle with many others that I've used, because I'm not having any problem picking it up and working with it. And so one way that I like to do, I start at the sideburns and then put it at about maybe a 30-degree angle, and then just kind of go down. And I like a little shorter strokes like this. It's just me. Now I'm going to go ahead and go sideways because this is my second pass. And notice how I'm holding it. I'm not spreading out my grip to try to have leverage and control. My personal belief, and that's what it is that a flexibly held razor can mow over bumps more carefully, because if I do happen to use the wrong angle, if I'm holding it kind of lightly, then the razor can move. Now I'll switch my grip because I'm going to be doing a pull motion on my other cheek, and so it's almost like a pencil grip. Sometimes I'd do it closer to the end here. And again, it's a very light grip because I'm not spreading out my fingers to have leverage. And so I'm just pressing only enough to keep the razor on the skin. And in this way, I'm going to have less of a risk of razor burn, irritation, things like that. You remember, we're not trying to strip away all the hair at once. And so my angle typically will try to be around a 30-degree angle, but I use my ears and I use the feel of the face to try to tune in to where that angle is that's cutting the best. And especially in the curvy parts around my jawline, the curvy parts of my neck here, I like the shorter stroke method because it helps me to adjust to those curves as I'm shaving, and I'm realizing, wow, that stroke didn't really pull very much hair. It didn't really cut very much. So let's change the angle. So I'm able to dynamically do that, and so the next time I do it, I can adjust the angle, you know, and then I keep moving slowly in small patches instead of trying to do one long swipe, kind of mow the grass, you know, because then as you move, you have to adjust, you know, as you're going down. Whereas if it's small, especially, see, the curve is similar around right here. And so if I do that and come along, and if I stay in that direction, then I can kind of keep the same handle angle. And so if I pick areas that have similar handle angles, I don't have to change quite as much, and it's a little bit more stable. It's easier to maintain the right angle. All right, let me rinse. And now let's suit up for that third pass. Looks like I'm going to have enough lather for another 3, maybe even 4 passes. Very comfortable, just right off the bat. I'm going to go ahead and get some more. I should have remembered and maybe taken away a little bit of the water from my face after the rinse. Then maybe I wouldn't have to go down and grab too much more soap. Also remember that when you're in the splay like this is kind of how your brush looks. You may end up with a very thin layer right there, but don't worry, when you switch to the painting motion, that thicker layer can come into play. Yeah, I'm liking the scent. All right. And now my cheeks, at this point, I can go whatever direction I want. The growth is straight down. I'll also say that this is a 24-hour, just a 1 day of beard growth, so nothing extreme. And of course, if you're new, your angles, you know, how the tracks on your face as to how you approach your beard growth often is going to be very different from mine. If your cheeks grow straight down, then you can probably expect a similar. A lot of people do, some don't, and some guys just have hair that grows sideways or something like that. But if your cheeks grow like mine, then yeah, you could expect to be successful with similar strategies and directions that you see me do on the cheeks. But down in the neck area is definitely where you see a lot of variation. With my hair, the hair grows sideways, and once it crosses the Adam's apple, it starts to turn down a little bit. I think there's a swirl or something right here, another swirl kind of over here. When it comes down from here, it comes in toward the center just a hair before it turns and starts to go down. So over here is all kinds of weirdness. All right, after this rinse, I'm going to check out the closeness and might be at a stopping point. Oh, you know what I did that may have kind of washed out my lather just a little bit, kept me having to go back and get some more? I don't think that I kind of got the water droplets out of my beard. And so if they kind of joined in on the lather, that could have diluted it to that extent. I've seen that happen before. My bad. All right, I've got a length on a few tips right there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a quick touch up. I believe I forgot to do my secret weapon for this area. This is my plague area. It has really taken me a while to figure out the right angle to use for this area. And this is basically a cross grain bit right here. And then I have to turn back the other way to clean up the edges because of the swirls that I mentioned earlier. There we go. All right, let me check this out. Yep, and I'm happy with that. That's just seems to give me a really good close cut when I use that technique. And it may take you a lot of experience and trial and error with certain swirly areas coming at it from different angles. Because I can't go against the grain, especially my neck area. It just razor rash all over the place. So I have to be very careful and strategic with multi-angle cross grain passes instead of that final against the grain pass that a lot of guys can do. All right, so I used 2 syringes, which is 4 teaspoons of water. I ended up using a little bit more soap toward the end, but yeah, I think I've got 3 passes in here still. So 1/4 teaspoon, maybe a little bit less of the soap. It would be all I need to use. And I believe, yeah, I think this lather's dialed in very well. Pretty elastic there. Nice looking lather. Yeah, really happy with that. And ergonomically speaking, I really like this handle. Really happy with that. Let me show you that again. It's been obscured by suds ever since the beginning. So here we are. And so for a lot of it, I just had a grip like this. And at one point, I reached my fingers up like that. That was a very stable grip. If you do end up getting a little tired of holding it this way, you can move up like that. And it's just a cheap little handle. They're on eBay, a vintage handle, but it's made in, Taiwan. And who cares if it's made in Taiwan? It's wood and it's rubber. And it doesn't have to be, made in Germany or some type of high technical, because it's just it's a stick. All right, so now we've stropped it on a towel. It's kind of more presentation quality now. And, it's got pretty good density. It doesn't have to be this wall of badger to be usable and enjoyable like some of these high-end brushes are. I mean, they're great. They're for a purpose. They're a tool. So if that's what you want, you can get one of those. But sometimes I like the flow through, and it's a little bit easier to mix up a lather to me with one that has a little bit more flow in it, instead of being quite so densely packed with all those wonderful hairs. And so this is how this guy looks. I like the bulb shape. I was concerned because this one was very narrow when I first got him and put him in the brush and had him drying, you know, the silicone. As I waited for it to dry, I looked at the knot and I thought, have I gotten a knot that was too small? But no, as you can see, it puffed out to 3 times its width. It looks great. I think it flows with the brush, and it feels great. It works. It gives me plenty of room to work. So 20 millimeter knot for me works great. I'm really happy with it. And this is one that I had sitting around on my desk looking at it for several months. And so it's also a personal sense of accomplishment to have ordered. And since this came from China, Virginia Cheng, since it came from China with their eBay seller, it did take a while to get here. And so this had to sit for a while. Then finally, when can I get some time to get out to the garage with the Dremel and to take care of it? And then testing with the knot. Is that deep enough? You know, I set it a little deeper than I usually do. And I think I'm really happy that I did. I don't think right now I need to put any kind of O-ring on it. I don't think it'd really help anyway. I think the hairs are just so flexible they would just bend over it anyway. So really happy. First, yes, it's a floppy brush. It is a floppy brush, but it worked great. Worked great for me. It stirred up the lather. I'll try it on a really hard soap, and if it can work on a really hard soap, which I'm confident that it will, then there's nothing to worry about because it'll pick up anything softer than that for sure. Yep, sure, I've been pulling out several bristles, maybe about 8 count by now, but that, like I said earlier, doesn't worry me at all at this point. So now the only thing is, this is the only brush I have that doesn't sit on its base. I'm going to have to, you know, maybe get a stand for it, or, you know, something, or something I can sit it in. This is a different paradigm now. Really happy about it. So yeah, now I can sell my 26 millimeter Virginia Cheng with the big old maggoted handle, and somebody's going to really enjoy that one too. I was thinking about something to use for the post shave, and face feels great. I don't feel like I really need it, but Chatillon Luxe scent. Let's go with the Chatillon Luxe post shave. These guys, a little bit goes a long way, and not very expensive. And so I'm going to take a little bit of this guy out, see if that works well enough. And this is Gratiot League Square, again, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Chatillon Luxe, man, they are really doing it to me with all these pronunciations. I need to get on YouTube and see if that company has made some YouTube videos where they're pronouncing their own product name, and you know, then I can know for sure that I'm saying it correctly. This is a little bit different, this salve, than a lot of aftershave, post-shave products. You don't put it on your face right away, or at least they don't advise you to. Rub it together. They say palm of your hand, but then that's hard to get on my face. And so I just like to kind of do my fingertips like I'm doing now, where it melts on your fingertips, and then you can apply it that way. I've got an injury in my elbow there, and so I can't quite, have to do this weird looking cross thing because this is what I can reach. Very nice. I think that flows nicely with the Foret de Liguest. Very good. And this is a very healing and hydrating arrangement, at least for me. And I have oily skin, so I bet it would be good for other folks especially. Oh yeah, that's a good scent too. Man, such nice scents coming from Chatillon Luxe. Really is. I like Bon Vivant from them as well, but these two. Oh, you know what? I could get the salve. I wonder if they sell the salve for the Foret de Liguest. Maybe that was a temporary thing and it's out of stock now. I don't know, but I'm going to check it out. That would be interesting. I like that. All right. Just cleanup now is left. A little trivia tip for you. I'm not getting any badger funk I worked up one lather with Dove Men Plus Care, the bar soap that I had here that I've been using lately as a shave soap, and it works well, works okay. But I thought that'd be a good cleaner because it does contain moisturizing ingredients as well. And so I used that to kind of clean the brush. And then of course I used it in the soap that you saw me just use. So those are the only two operations that this has had, and I'm not getting any badger funk at all. So if you're the kind of person that worry about that, you know, that's one way to combat it. If it did have any funk from the beginning, I don't really know that it did. Tremendous shaver. So here is the Gillette Rocket, the gold version. Nice smooth action. It has the notched ends here on the center ridge. Diamond base plate. These are some identifying marks. A solid base cap right there. It says made in England on the bottom, but it does not have any kind of patent number. It does have the Gillette logo on one side and the made in England on the other. It does have the end caps instead of rivets. Those are some things to look for when trying to figure out what kind of razor you have. This one's in just terrific shape. Wow, I just really lucked out. And the Performer, I mean, I don't own a lot that are in such good shape because I'm mainly a user focus. I just wanted to shave, and if it doesn't shave for me, I'm not likely to keep it around very much. I don't really have any that just look good and I don't use them. But this does both. Pretty cool. And wow, what a smooth shave. Wow, that's just up there with the smoothest geometry. Just, I mean, it may not match what you enjoy. It may not match even your face, your skin and hair type, but it sure does match mine. All right, we're all done with the shave. Everything's put away. I've gone over a little bit of the summary already. Brush, soap. Definitely going to keep this soap around. I'm appreciating it more and more with each shave. And I realize the unique niche that it's in. I'm really happy with that. Razor obviously was terrific. The Platinum did great in this. So there we go. There we go. Wonderful. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. And I hope there was something in here that helped you out. You take care and good night.